Hello everybody, I'm Thomas and welcome back to the 18th video of this series in which I'll be playing through the Hadrian's Wall solo campaign. Today I'll be attempting Fort 13 Uxalodanum. I'm probably butchering that name. The description reads, Uxalodanum was the largest fort on Hadrian's Wall. Because of the large size of the fort, it is thought to have housed a regiment of over 1,000 cavalry. For the fort rules, there are no extra rules. For the goal, I must complete the fort, the wall, the Sippy, and score 80 plus victory points. And for the challenge, I have to get 12 victory points from the path cards. I completed the last fort off screen, so I got the bonus there. I'll post a picture on the screen right now. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let's see what my first path card is here. All right, yeah, it's a supply card, not a path card. These are my path cards. What do I got? Final Disdain or completed citizen tracks. Go for Final Disdain. Tends to be easier and just one I prefer doing. That gets me an extra civilian along with an extra servant, and then because of my board I get a resource. And yeah, with that we're on our way with year number 1. Well, the fort, wall, and Sippy all need to be complete, so resource production is going to be important to make sure I have enough resources to do so. And besides that, just make sure I have enough builders to progress on the fort, so the workshop will be key. Once again, need resources for the workshop, so resources are going to be pretty crucial, I think, for this. So the first thing I'll actually do is spend 2 servants up here on mining and foresting to boost the resource production and get me a resource. I will then spend at least 1 builder on the fort, get that going, and spend a resource on the Sippy, on the wall to get a civilian. I will spend 3 civilians on the trader's track. That'll get me a servant and a builder. And then now that I'm level 3, I can spend a civilian and a servant to build the small precinct, which will get me a bit of piety along with a resource production and a resource. I will then spend both of these builders on the fort and then 2 resources on the wall. And that will get me a civilian, which I will put on this track to get me a builder, which I'll put back on the fort, which will of course give me a civilian. But then mainly I can at least put a resource on the wall, and that will get me a bit of renown, but most importantly, it will get me a bit of cohort that I can fill in. So I'll go with the right one, and then I can spend all 3 of my soldiers on the wall guard, getting me 2 cohorts and some discipline. So I'll get the discipline, I'll fill in the left cohort, and then I'll fill in the center one. So now I got 1 of each. Okay, I think I would just spend the servant up here to do some mining and foresting. I will spend the civilian over here to grab me a builder, which then I will put on the fort. And with that, year number 1 is done. 1 pick is attacking. They hit the right. I had all of them covered, so not very climactic, I guess. So I get one valor, and then that's it. Let's see what my supply card is for this year. All right. Then my 2 path cards are either completed wall guard section or completed scout columns. I guess I'll go for wall guard section. That tends to be pretty easy, or at least easier than scout columns. Because, I mean, scout columns, it's not a tricky one. It's just one I don't go for very often. So then I got that, so then I need to get 3 resources. All right, with that done, we're on our way with year number 2. Not sure what I really want to do this year. I mean, I guess keep progressing down the fort. Maybe I'll actually build a medium granary this year. Normally that's a year 3 thing, but we'll see. Probably want to build a small hotel, maybe the workshop this year. That would be kind of nice. And then I could build the medium granary next year, the courthouse the following year, and kind of do my normal strategy. So I actually think I will start with kind of what I was saying. I'm going to, because I'm level 3 in my infrastructure level, so I can spend a builder, a servant, and a resource to first build the small hotel and get myself a civilian. And then, since I'm level 3, I can also spend all my resources on getting a small workshop, which gets me a builder. Okay, I will spend both soldiers I have up here on the wall guard. First gets me nothing, the next will get me a bit of discipline, because then I will spend these 2 civilians over here. That will get me a soldier, which I will put onto the wall guard, allow me to fill in another a cohort, and I'll go with the left one. And at this point, I'll keep going down the fort then, so I'll spend both of those builders here, and that will get me a civilian along with some discipline, which gets me a builder. Okay, I will spend 1 civilian down here to get me a resource, which I will then spend along with the servant and a builder to build a medium granary, just doing that a little bit earlier than I normally would. And then I will spend my last civilian over here to get a servant, and I'll put them up here. With that, we're done with year 2. We got only 2 picks attacking, but I have 2 1-and-1, so as long as they don't hit double center or right, I'll be good. Let's see, we got center, and don't be center again. It's right, so we are sitting just fine. Get 2 valor from that, which does get me a soldier to start for the next year. All right, let's see what my supply card is. Okay, no resources, that's kind of annoying, but whatever. Then my path cards, filled temples or resource production. Probably go with resource production. Something I'm kind of focusing a little bit. I guess I'll be focusing a bit more now. I get 2 extra servants because of the card, then 3 resources. Okay, then because of my small hotel, I get a civilian, and because of my small workshop, I get a builder. With that, we're on our way with year number 3. One thing I would always do on year number 3, or I guess most of the time, is build the medium granary. That's already done, so that's kind of nice. I will go ahead and just start by spending a servant up on mining and foresting to boost my resource production, along with getting a resource. I'm also going to start on the sippy, I think. So I'm going to spend 3 resources and start the sippy. Maybe that's a terrible idea, but it needs to be done. And the worst part about the sippy is you don't get anything to start out with. So now that's kind of over with. I need to fill in another cohort then. I guess I will go with the right one. I think I will then spend these 3 servants up here to do some mining and foresting because I need that resource production. And I will also get another resource. Then I will spend 2 builders down here on the fort. The first will get me a civilian. I'm going to spend a civilian down here on patricians. I'll actually spend 1 more civilian down here on patricians. That'll get me a soldier, which I'll immediately spend to do some scouting. And I'll just go at this bottom little section there to get me 2 resources. Then I will spend 3 resources on the wall. The first will get me a civilian, and then the next will get me a cohort, which I will fill in, I guess, the middle one, just so I'm at 2 at each. I will then spend all 3 of my soldiers up on the wall guard. First will get me nothing, the next will get me a little bit of discipline, and the last one will get me a cohort, which I will go with the left one, since the left hasn't gotten hit at all this game, and that will get me a bit more discipline. I'll then spend at least 1 civilian over here on this track. That'll get me some discipline, which then gets me a builder. I will spend that builder on the fort, and that will get me a civilian. I will then spend the servant up here on mining and foresting. I'll spend the builder on the fort, and then I will spend, let's see, probably this resource on the wall. Yeah, that'll get me a bit of renown, and then I got these civilians. I will, of course, spend 1 civilian down here on patricians, getting me some renown, getting me a civilian. I will then spend 1 civilian down here on patricians. That'll get me some resources, just a single resource. I'll spend the other one up here on trader's track, and then I will spend this 1 resource on the wall, I guess, and that will get me a civilian back. So then I will spend that civilian up here on the trader's track. That'll get me a resource, which I will spend on the, I guess, wall. I was trying to get to this cohort there. It's not really going to happen. So that is the end of year 3. Gonna have 4 picks again to be attacking. All right, so I got 3, 2, and 2. Let's see how this goes. We got center, right, center, just don't be center again, and left. Okay, sitting good. Because of that, I get 2 valor, and let's see what my supply card is. All right, and then my path cards are either large buildings or constructed landmarks. I'm gonna go with large buildings. I guess I will need to make sure I build some extra ones. Get 2 resources because of the path card, and then my board gets me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 resources. Not bad amount of resources at all. Then my hotel gets me a civilian, my workshop gets me a builder, and with that, we're on our way with year number 4. I'm gonna build the courthouse at some point. That's definitely on the agenda. Since the large buildings thing came up, it's also making me think, well, I gotta build at least some large buildings. The hotel and workshop may not be bad ones, and Definitely the sooner the better for those, but I can't even build the large hotel yet. Something I could probably do this year. The workshop, I can maybe do the next year, but then I'd only be able to get 1 year out of it. I don't know if that's worth it. Something to consider, I guess. But for now, I am level 4 on this track, so I can spend... Oh, I don't even have another servant to spend. I was going to spend a servant. I don't even have it. I will instead spend 2 civilians over here on the priest track to get that servant, which I will then spend along with a builder and 2 resources to build the courthouse, which will get me a bit of renown. And then I will use the first ability and get myself a servant, and then spend a resource on the wall, getting me some renown along with a cohort. And I don't know, I guess I'll go with the right one, get a bit of discipline from that. I will then spend a resource on the sippy, getting me a civilian. I will spend a builder on the fort, moving that along and getting me a civilian. I will spend both of these soldiers on the fort, and then that'll get me a bit of discipline along with a cohort to fill in, which at this point I'll go with the center one. So I have 3 at each, and because that gives me a builder. I will then spend a builder, a servant, and 2 resources to build the large hotel. That'll get me a bit of renown along with a civilian, so I actually get 2 civilians. So I'll spend 2 civilians on the priest track. First will get me a bit of piety. The next will get me a servant, because then I will spend a civilian on the trader's track, and then I can spend 2 civilians and a servant to boost up my resource production, along with getting some discipline and a resource for building the medium precinct. And then I can spend 3 resources on the wall. First will get me nothing, the next will get me a civilian, and the last spot will get me a cohort to fill in, which I'll keep going with the left one, because that one's hardly got hit. And then I can spend this resource on the sippy, getting me another cohort to fill in, which I will go with the right one. And then I have 1 civilian left, which I will use them on this track. That will get me a builder, and the builder I will just send on the wall guard, I suppose. And with that, we're done with year number 4. There's gonna be 6 picks attacking. Okay, so I have 6 picks are gonna be attacking. I have 4, 3, and 4 as far as my cohorts go. Let's see how this goes. We got right, left, and right, and left. Okay. And right, and finally left. So pretty even, but none got through. So because of that, I get 3 Valor, which does get me a soldier for next year. All right, then let's see what my supply card is. All right, and then my 2 path cards. I got completed cohorts and completed wall sections. I'm gonna go for wall sections since that's kind of part of the fort this time around. So I get an extra soldier because of that. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 resources. Love that. Then I have 2 different types of hotels. So I get 2 civilians, and then I get a builder for my workshop. And with that, we're on our way with year number 5. Kind of a weird fort. I also didn't use the other 2 courthouse abilities. That was my bad. Kind of missed out on that, but that's okay. I could go ahead and use this ability, right? So yeah, year 5, I'm level 5. I'll go ahead and grab a servant. I think I want to build the large granary probably right off the bat, just because I want to start progressing down that a bit more. So yeah, what was that? Those 2, and I have to spend 2 resources to build the large granary. Will get me a bit of renown. I will then spend 2 servants up here on mining and foresting to boost my resource production, along with getting me a resource. I will spend a builder on the fort. I will spend 2 civilians over here on this track. The first will get me some discipline, then the next will get me a soldier. Now that I'm level 7 over here, I could basically use both courthouse abilities to get myself an extra servant. Then I will spend 4, let's see, hold on. Yeah, I'm going to spend 4 resources here on the large workshop, and that will get me a bit of renown along with a builder. I will then spend both builders on the fort. The first will get me a civilian, and the next just gets me nothing. We spend 2 soldiers up here on the wall guard. The first will get me a bit of discipline, which does get me a builder. The next gets me a cohort, where I will go ahead and fill in the center one. I will then spend this builder over here on the fort, and that will get me another civilian. I'm going to spend all 3 civilians over here on the trader's track. The first will get me a builder. The next will get me some renown, which gets me a civilian back. And then the last spot gets me some resources. I will then spend 2 resources here on the wall. The first will get me a bit of renown. The next will get me a civilian. I will then spend a soldier on the fort along with a builder on the fort to get me a civilian. Because then I can spend 3 civilians and a servant to build the large precinct. That will get me a bit of renown along with some resource production and a resource. Which then I can spend 2 resources on the wall. First gets me nothing. The next will get me a bit of renown along with a cohort to fill in. I will go with the left one, which does get me a bit of valor. So I got a soldier from that along with something else, right? I think I got a builder from that. No, I got a civilian. That's right. I will spend that civilian over here on the priest track. That gets me a bit of piety, which gets me another servant. And then I will spend both of these servants on foresting and mining. Unfortunately, we're 1 spot away from there, and I don't really see any good way to get that. Unless maybe I do some, like, scouting, and then I use a resource to do something? Maybe. Oh, duh, yeah, I could definitely do scouting, right? I could spend a soldier to do some scouting, and then I could just go in, like, the top right corner or something to get a resource and a servant, and I'll spend the servant on mining and foresting to get me some more resource production along with another resource. Which then I could spend both of these on the sippy. The first will get me some renown, and the next will get me a cohort, which I will go with, I guess the center one. And that will get me a bit of valor. And then I will spend this soldier on the fort, because then that will get me some discipline along with another cohort to fill in, and I will go with the right one, getting me some more valor. And yeah, that is the end of year number 5. We're gonna have 8 picks attacking. I have 5, 5, and 5 at each cohort, so let's see how this goes. Should go all right. We got right, we got left, right, center. Okay, it's a pretty good spread so far. Right, center. I think I'm safe. Right, and center. Yep, safe. So because of that, I get 3 valor, which does get me a soldier to start for next year. Let's see what my supply card is. Okay. And then my final 2 path cards, collected goods, or total gladiator strength. Oh, jeez. Wow. These are both bad. And both of these, you kind of need to do stuff earlier in the game. I guess I should have known that these were coming. Boy, oh boy. Because you can only do 1 battle, so I couldn't even get to strength 4 if I wanted to. And this, I couldn't. I guess I'll go with collected goods. No, I'll go with gladiator strength and just try to hope I do better on the other quests, because this gets me a civilian, which I think is a little bit more useful. And then yeah, I get resources. It's a nice amount of resources. Then I get not 1 but 2 civilians, and not 1 but 2 builders, because I got 2 hotels, 2 workshops, and with that all out of the way, we are on to the final year. First things first, I will go ahead and use the courthouse to get a servant. So first, let me go ahead and spend 3 resources to finish off the wall, because that will get me a civilian along with a cohort, which I will go with the left one, I guess, at this point. And that will get me a bit of discipline. I will then spend all of my soldiers on the wall guard. First gets me nothing, the next gets me some discipline, which gets me a builder. The last gets me a cohort, where I will go with, I suppose, the right one, which will get me some more discipline. And then I will spend a builder to go out on the training grounds and fill out a little bit more of that. I will then spend 2 civilians down here. First gets me a bit of renown, and the next gets me a soldier. I will then spend all 3 of these civilians on the performance track. 1, 2, 3. That gets me a servant. I'll then spend my soldier on the wall guard. That will get me a bit of discipline, which gets me a bit of valor, which gets me a soldier, which then I will spend on the wall guard, finishing off that cohort where I will go with the center one, and that will get me a bit more discipline. I don't know, but this might be the first time I've ever fully completed like this top part. I have everything complete, all the cohorts, the fort, the wall guard, sippy, the wall, mining and foresting. Let me know if I like mess something up, but like I think that's one of the first times I've ever had that actually happen. I still have a lot of stuff up here, so I'll probably do some building, something else, but it seems to be going all right. So I'm gonna spend a servant, a builder, and a resource to build the small temple. That will get me a bit of piety, because then I can spend a servant and a builder to fill it, and I get some piety along with a favor, which should be pretty nice. I will then spend a builder, a servant, and a resource to build the small gardens. The first will get me a bit of piety, which will get me a servant. Then I go up the trader's track. I'm maxed out on the performer's track. That gets me a soldier. And then what else? Then I go up the priest track, which gets me a servant. I will go ahead and spend a servant along with a soldier and 2 resources to get a diplomat for the left side, just because I don't know really what else to do. That will get me some valor. I guess one thing I could do is also spend a builder and 2 resources to build the statue. And that will get me 2 renown, which will get me a civilian. I think that's pretty much it. Like I could spend the civilian over here. Well, can I do anything else? Actually, I could spend the civilian here to get some discipline, and that will get me a builder back. I can use the courthouse ability twice to get me an extra servant. I'm really just dragging out this turn. I will spend a servant, a builder, a resource over here to build the theater, which will get me some renown, which will get me some piety. And then I can spend a resource putting on a performance. Yeah, I don't know what exactly would be the best, but I will spend a resource to do this performance. No, this performance. Yeah, so do that, because that'll get me a bit of piety. I'll get another servant, and I think that's pretty much all I can do. Yeah, I think that's it. Let me know if I missed anything, but end of the year, we got 10 picks attacking. Okay, so let's see. I got maxed out 6 at each cohort. I also have a favor, and then I have 2 extra favors specifically for the left, so I should be okay. We got right, left. That's what I want to see. If anything, I want to see a lot of lefts. So we got 3 lefts. Center, kind of sticking together. We got right. What else? We got another left, so up to 4. Center again. Left. It's 5, 6, but that still doesn't matter because it's 2, 4, 6. Nothing broke through. I had favors and cohorts for days. So then because of that, I get 4 valor. So the first gets me a bit of discipline. 2, 3, and 4. And let's tally up my score. So for renown, I get 17. Then for piety, I get 8. For valor, I get 20. And discipline, I also get 20. Let's see how my path cards went. 14, I think, is what my total came out to be for path cards. Disdain, I got 0, so let's see what that adds up to. All right, so 17 plus 8 plus 20 plus 20 plus 14, 79, and I needed 80. Are you kidding me? That's annoying. I mean, I got everything else. Like, I got all the sippy, the wall, the fort. I got at least 12 for my path cards, but I was literally just one point shy. That's really unfortunate. I guess, I don't know, maybe I could have invested some resources in something other than like the diplomat, and maybe got an extra point somewhere. That's unfortunate, but I guess I'll have to just attempt this one more time off screen. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, a like would be greatly appreciated. I'll be back next time attempting the next fort, so subscribe if you want to catch that. And if you want to see one of my recent videos, click up there in the top right corner of the screen.